Yo, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and what other holiday I don't celebrate. Uh, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another Fantasimo episode of the Audible podcast. I'm your host, D Wody, D Man, and I want to welcome y'all back. I just want to get straight into it. It just feels so, whoo! I just feel just so smooth right now. So, you know, NFL is about to go to the playoffs. NBA is just starting. MLB, I have no idea. NHL, I believe, is about to start very soon. And, it's a lot going on at the NFL. We can go through the playoff situation, but, we will get to that at one point. But one thing that I wanted to discuss is I wanted to discuss how do I explain it? It's not degradation. Is it degradation? Is that the word? The quarterbacks that are in the NFL, right? So the quarterback play, the wide receiver play has far exceeded. The wide receiver play is far beyond what the quarterback play is at this moment. And what I mean is the level of wide receiver is so far ahead and so far advanced than the level of quarterback that we have, as far as passing quarterback, that I think this could be the biggest discrepancy maybe in the history of the league. Let's get into the nitty gritty, the nuts and bolts of things. So back in the day, and this is one thing that could have always gone on. Because it is harder to find a quarterback than anything else. I would say it's not harder to win with a quarterback. We've seen Trent Dilfer, Eli Manning, Brad Johnson. Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson didn't do the same thing. Yeah, Trent Dilfer. He played. Trent Dilfer did it in Baltimore. I always forget Trent Dilfer was in the Bucks for so long, and then he went to Baltimore. But Brad Johnson was absolutely horrible. We saw Joe Flacco do it. He's absolutely horrible. And several other quarterbacks that have somehow survived and somehow just been below average enough, not all the way trash, but just a touch, just a, just a little tippy toe above trash, to where they didn't get in the way enough for the team to just absolutely suck and fuck up their playoff hopes and ultimately the Super Bowl hopes. But what we're seeing now is we're seeing absolute treachery, but we're also seeing it at a different level, right? So what the NFL always done, and it's what a lot of fans have complained about, mostly fans of color, mostly black fans. I'll say is the complaint, along with the coaching, along with the bullshit Rooney Rule, not Rooney Rule, Rooney Rule, in which a team would just basically call up Marvin Lewis, knowing they won't give him the fucking job. But we called a black coach. Let's get that out the way. Let's bring in the college coach who has never done anything, but he's white. He's exciting, and we don't want any Negroes to coach my football team. So we used to stuff like that. We're used to seeing that. That's why the Rooney Rule exists, and that's why the Rooney Rule is going to be non-existent very soon because people, owners, white owners, all the owners in the NFL are white. They're just doing what they usually do. And now they have a rule set, and they're just going clean past that rule by calling up this same guy. Every team is calling up Marvin Lewis. That way, they got the one out the way. Um, and the kind of the counter side to that, the flip side of that will be the quarterbacks, right? So we all know about the starting quarterback position. We all know how cats like Lamar Jackson was somewhat pigeonholed. People calling this dude a running back, a wide receiver. He's supposed to be a safety, and now he's a league MVP as quarterback, right? But it's not really about the starters. It's about the starters, but it's not about the starters or just that. It's all about the backup quarterbacks, right? So if you look at the backup quarterbacks, it is the same dude. Yesterday, how is Henny still in the league? Why is he a backup? And this is one of the things I wanted to discuss as well. Besides the Rams, right? So the Broncos' backup quarterback, if y'all didn't know, the backup quarterback to Drew Lock was Blake Bortles. How does Blake Bortles? What is anybody? What did John Elway plan on doing with Blake Bortles that he didn't do with Jacksonville? What what change up? What difference is Blake Bortles going to be? How different is Blake Bortles from Jacksonville to the Broncos? And now, if you didn't know, Jared Goff, he had I believe a injury, a broken thumb on his throwing hand. I don't know if his throwing hand is left or right. So they had to put in a backup quarterback, Wolford. Whoever this guy is, give him a chance, give him a shot, because that's the one thing I want to see. It's kind of black and white. It is very black and white as far as the problems that I have with the NFL. But another problem what I have is just not giving guys a fucking chance. Let the dudes play. Blake Bortles is the third string for the Rams. Is there anybody that can possibly lead me through how Blake Bortles is still on a roster? He's the backup. Your best quarterback get hurt. Blake Bortles is coming in. Starting quarterback for the New York Football Giants. Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones can't even throw. Legit. Storied franchise. Daniel Jones. Storied franchise. Chicago Bears. Mitchell Trubisky. Dallas Cowboys. America's team. Andy Dalton. Let's put up the list. And we're going to go through this one by one. Because, I actually had a few things to talk about, but I don't give a shit about that. I just want to talk about this. Right. So we're going to go through the NFC East. The NFC East. Haskins, Alex Smith, Heineke. Daniel Jones for the Giants. Cowboys, Andy Dalton. The Eagles, they had Wentz, but they put in Jalen Hurts, right? So if it's not Hurts, which you drafted, you draft him for this spot. And why is Wentz surprised? They drafted a fucking quarterback or a top pick. I understand Hurts coming in. He's supposed to come in. He's the backup. He was drafted for this. This is the type of stuff I'm talking about. Giving another quarterback a chance. Seattle has no problems. Russell Wilson. The Rams. Blake Bortles. So you're going to tell me you got Cooper Kupp. You got Robert Woods. You're going to have Blake Bortles throwing it to him. Washington has McLaurin, who's a monster. You have Alex Smith throwing it to him. The Giants have Slayton. They have Ingram. And they have a Shepard. Daniel Jones is throwing it to him. The Cowboys have Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. And fucking Andy Dalton is throwing the ball. The 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo is trash. The second and third strings are trash. Come next year, if there's a quarterback to be gotten, the 49ers will have a new quarterback. Let me tell you this. A year ago, Jimmy Garoppolo was the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. How can you go from the highest paid to not even being on the roster? What's the thought process? What am I seeing? What what is what are they seeing? What do they see in Blake Bortles? What do they see in Mitchell Trubisky? What do they see in Andy Dalton? Especially with Andy Dalton, that hasn't already been seen. He's not even there's quarterbacks that you can put in and they can control the game. Like, hey, put this in. And this a lot of the 90s and 2000s quarterbacks used to be like this. And I think it's a super early 2000s when they got to the late 2000s, they just started throwing quarterbacks away. They just and it's the same quarterbacks. How many McNowns am I going to see? Kate McNown, Bobby McNown. Who are all these? How many times are we going to see them? How many times are we going to see Chase Daniels? He's trash. He's always been trash. Why is he serviceable to run your team if your quarterback snaps his leg off and it gets tossed into the third row? What am I missing? I'll be I'll be I'll be I'll be more than happy to get a comment or proper explanation or a peek into the mindset of what's going on. Packers have always had a quarterback. That's no problem. The Bears, Trubisky, he's terrible. Nick Foles is terrible. System quarterback. Uh, the Vikings, Kirk Cousins is throwing it to Jefferson and Thielen with Dalvin Cook as the running back. So let me tell you how bad, how terrible the Vikings is, right? So if y'all got a quick second, I want you to do this with me. You type in Minnesota Vikings offensive coordinator. It was Gary Kubiak. Gary Kubiak has never run. He was with the Texans. He was terrible. Is this the same Kubiak? Is Gary Kubiak the motherfucker that coached the Texans? I- am I thinking of another Kubiak? Let me pull this up. Let me make sure I'm all the way accurate with it, right? He was the coach of the Texans for 7 years. And they were awful. In those 7 awful years, how does he become an offensive coordinator, an offensive advisor, an assistant coach? With Kirk Cousins as the quarterback? With a 1,500-yard rusher and 2,000-yard receivers. You can't even make the fucking playoffs. You can't even be over 500. 7-9. The Lions. Matt Stafford, right? So a lot of people has this thing, they do this thing with the Lions, right? And I do this thing with the Lions. The Lions have wasted two generational offensive talents. Not even offensive talents, two generational talents in sports, in athletics, not just football, not just the NFL, in athletic history. Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson. These are two of the greatest athletes to ever play any sport. And somehow, Matt Stafford has slid into that spot just because he can throw for 4,000 yards and he can throw 20 picks or 15 picks. I saw Aaron Rodgers, who's an amazing quarterback, say, "Oh, that Matt Stafford, this is his last year, probably a good friend of his. That Matt Stafford, he's really underrated." Pardon me. If Matt Stafford was underrated, why the Lions dog shit every single year? Tell me when the last time Matt Stafford won a playoff game. The Lions don't even make it to the playoffs. So how is Matt Stafford just because he can throw for 4,000 yards and maybe 5,000 yards, but Matt Ryan can do the same, and Matt Ryan is trash. We all know this is a different era of football. It's pass first. Kirk Cousins probably had 4,000 yards. You think, is he good? He's probably had 4,000 yards several times. Jay Cutler has 4,000 yards several times. He's one of the worst quarterbacks ever. Who's the former Texans? Matt Schaub threw for 4,000 yards. He's one of the worst quarterbacks in NFL history. I'm not done. Saints, Breeze, we know this. Buccaneers, Brady, we know this. Bridgewater, Panthers, fine. Matt Ryan, right? So Matt Ryan, I've always called the trash time king. Then the Falcons are down 30 because Matt Ryan threw 2 picks and fucked up the whole game. And somehow the Vikings go in this third quarter, late third quarter run, not the Vikings, the Falcons. They go in this, Kirk Cousins and Matt Ryan's the same. They go in this third quarter run, or this early fourth quarter run, or this mid fourth quarter run, where they go from being down 30 to being down 16. Because there's nothing else to do besides air that bitch out to another generational talent that's probably about to retire because of injury, or he's gonna get the fuck out of there. I think he just resigned, so he's either play again or fucking retire for Julio Jones. Calvin Ridley is there. They have 2 big time receivers, and they are dog shit yearly. They disappoint yearly. Matt Ryan will continue to have a job. Let's go over to the AFC. Let's start off with one of the worst divisions ever, the AFC East. Buffalo, I like Allen. I have no problem with that. Dolphins. Now, my primary, Dolphins are 10-6. And my primary, one of the reasons I want to put this pod together was because of Tua, right? So Tua, Tua is not a great. Well, we don't know if he's great. We don't even know if he's great. I was about to call him not a great quarterback. He got thrown in the middle of the fucking season, and then he gets taken out and put back in random spots. In the history of anything, when has a coach ever played 2 quarterbacks in multiple games? Oh, you're going to start and you're going to finish it. What? How's that a strategy? And we watched it. We allowed it. And we used that to judge a rookie quarterback. Because a stupid ass coach thinks in 3 or 4 games that's good as just play 2 quarterbacks. They didn't play 2 quarterbacks for Tom Brady. They didn't play 2 quarterbacks for Drew Brees. They didn't play 2 quarterbacks for fucking Drew Bledsoe. They didn't play 2 quarterbacks for Phillip Rivers. They didn't play 2 quarterbacks for Matt Schaub, and he broke the record for pick sixes. He broke his own record for pick sixes. We watch a motherfucker throw 5 intercepts, and they come back starting the next week. They never put Matt Stafford, you done threw 4 picks. It's the 4th quarter. Chase Daniels, win us the game. No, it don't work like that. How can you even take a team like that serious? How can you even judge a quarterback like that when the organization is horrible? The Dolphins are horrible. The Dolphins have they've been horrible since the first fucking Ace Ventura. Well, bad then. The movie they were going to Super Bowl, they was trashed in. They was getting trashed in the playoffs. What are we? Who am I the only one watching any of this, son? Like, it's so confusing to me how Sam Donald can like come back. It first of all, they had the Jets had Joe Flacco and Sam Darnold as the quarterbacks this year. And you gonna talk to me about Tua and Jalen Hurts? That they don't have it? Lamar Jackson don't have it? And fucking Joe Flacco and Sam Darnold is playing for the Jets? Darnold had mono. Was this the mono year? Yeah, he had mono. What was that last year? He was out. He was trash. He came back. He was trash. He went out again. Flacco was trash. He came back and ended the season off even worse. If they don't draft a quarterback, guess who's the Jets' fucking quarterback next year? Sam Darnold. We know about the Chiefs. Derek Carr, both of them. Trash. I like Herbert. Drew Lock. Trash. Matter of fact, you know what? I think Elway is so terrible. I'm going to look at the backup quarterback for the Broncos, right? And I bet you the nigga is horrible. Let's check it out. Jeff Driscoll and Brett. And this is stuff I'll be talking about, son. Who is Jeff Driscoll? If Drew Lock, who's already trash, goes down, then Jeff Driscoll and Brett Ripien are quarterbacks. You gonna tell me about? You gonna talk to me about Jalen Hurts? You gonna talk to me about Tua? Let's get back to the Lizzes. Ben Roethlisberger is on the way. Mason Rudolph almost beat another trash quarterback, Baker Mayfield. Now I know, the Browns, they haven't been in the playoffs since 2002, etc., etc. They just had a fucking shootout against backups. And Mason Rudolph. Mr. Half Moon himself. Mr. Half a Skull himself. Mr. Margaret Rudolph himself. Baker Mayfield, he's on 3 commercials in his own game, and he's horrible. How can a motherfucker with so many commercials be so bad? How did those two things even mix? He got the commercials this year. He was trash last year. And you gonna talk to me about Lamar Jackson? Passing with MVP? And I'm not switching it over. And it's not. I'm not saying Lamar. I'm not saying Tua. I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is just like a race thing. These are just the quarterbacks I'm thinking of that get the most criticism. Tua's gotten a lot of criticism. Jalen Hurts got a little bit of criticism. But it's a young rookie. Yeah, Tua's got so much criticism. Lamar's got so much criticism as a fucking MVP. Last year. It was last year. It's 12 months ago. Yeah, he was a fucking MVP. Oh, well, I didn't think this was an impressive win. Wow, they don't look serious. Oh, well, he ran for... He's the MVP. He's the reigning MVP. That ain't been taken yet. The league came in already ready to crown Russell Wilson. All Russell Wilson had to do was go 13-3 or 12 and they could have went 13-3. Him not throwing no picks or threw like 5 or 6, 7. The MVP was his. Well, you know what? MVP Russell Wilson's never even gotten a vote. This just seems like his year, and they were garbage. And I like Russell Wilson. But we all watch the same TV. The shit was his for the taking. He scooted it off the desk. The shit was definitely his for the taking. Let's get back to the Lizards. The Bengals. I like Burrow. But let's touch on something else, right? So let's look at some of the teams, and I'll just stick to the AFC because this was popped up on my list right now, right? So we think of all the bad teams, right? The Jaguars, the Bengals, the Browns. Um, let's put the Broncos in there and put the Raiders in there, right? That's 5 teams. 1, 2, Raiders, Broncos, Browns, Bengals, Jags, right? That's 5 teams, right? These are historically, let's just say last 20 years. Last 20 years, Jags is shit. They got like 2 years. If you got less than 7 years as the man, you got less than 7 years of playoffs, you trash in 25 years. Let's just put it out there. Let's just keep it real. The Jags is trash. The Bengals is trash. The Browns is trash. The Broncos is trash. The Raiders is trash, right? The Broncos is removed from a Super Bowl, but that Super Bowl was probably like 7 years ago, 6 years ago at this point. It's been a while. The Raiders haven't been to a Super Bowl since 2003. They're awful. We can all agree on that, right? So if a team, for instance, the Browns would be this is the first time making the playoffs since 2002. Right, so they've been in the playoffs in 18 years. You're gonna tell me a team that's been in the playoffs have been in the playoffs in 18 years knows how to run a fucking organization? First of all, you think they know how to draft? You think they know how to take care of players? You think they know how to keep their players together, keep them close knit? You think they have a culture? You think they have a good front office? You think they have seasoned vets to keep the young people out of trouble and then cultivate them? Do you think they have any of that shit? Do you think the Jaguars just have any of that shit? They just traded their whole defense away. And let me tell you why they traded the whole defense away. They traded the whole defense away because of Tom Coughlin, who wanted to get rid of Ramsey, who wanted to create his own culture, and they fired him. The Bengals. I don't care how old you are. When if the fucking Bengals even won a playoff game? You supposed to tell me Joe Burrow is supposed to come into that and just save the fucking day? The Bengals and Jags have probably had top 5 picks 20 times in the last 40 years. And they're still trash. To me, some of these things just come off as common sense. And this is one of the reasons in previous podcasts that I've brought up. Maybe changing the way we draft players. We can't have bad teams just stay bad to pick up bright young prospects and turn them to shit. How many times are we going to let the best players in collegiate sports go to the worst fucking teams? Why does that continue to happen? We've never seen anybody shine this shit. There's never been a first pick team and then all of a sudden they win the Super Bowl. It just don't fucking happen. We just saw the Eagles quit on purpose for draft picks. Let's get back to the point. Titans, Tannehill. Yeah, he's trash. But they got Derrick Henry, and he can manage the game. As long as he can manage the game, I'm fine. You know what? I take back that trash because he's a very good game manager. He's coming to that. That was his issues before. He is managing the games very well. He ain't giving up the draws. after Derrick Henry just set the stage, or Brown or Davis or Jonnu Smith. They have a lot of offensive weapons. Defense is terrible. But I won't call Tannehill trash. I'll take that back. Phillip Rivers, trash. Deshaun Watson is not trash. I would say, in my opinion, if I was to pick a top five, if I were to pick top five quarterbacks, Deshaun would be in there. He'll probably be, closer to the 3 or 4 level. But let's discuss the Texans for a second, right? So the Texans, all right, we all know they traded DeAndre Hopkins, right? They traded probably a top 2 to 3 receiver in the league for absolutely no reason. And by absolutely no reason, I mean the coach slash GM wanted to change the culture of the locker room by getting rid of probably the best offensive player. I would say Hopkins is more worthy of offensive player right now than Deshaun is. Just overall maturity, he's done. He's a finished product right now. And he's a wide receiver. It's different responsibilities, I know. But if I had to pick two, I'd probably pick Deshaun. But you know what I mean. You trade him for nothing. And then you trade your first round draft pick for nothing. Right? You give it away to pick up a running back. I think that's how they got Duke Johnson. David Johnson. I'm pretty sure that's how they got David Johnson. It was a first round pick. They gave it up to the Cardinals. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Either that or Tunzel. But I think Tunzel was a second rounder. However it went. They tried to trade Fuller this year. Now, granted, you could say, hey, Fuller went down with COVID anyway. You probably could have. We could talk about the future because they wasn't making the fucking playoffs anyway. So they had to think about next year anyway. And you trade, again, the guy who 2 years ago was the second best wide receiver. You traded the number one, so this guy moves up to number one. And you try to fucking trade him too. You have no running backs. You have no good tight ends. I like Kiki Kute. And I like what's the white cat? Hanson. I like him. They're good. But they're not DeAndre. And they're not fucking Will Fuller. You try to fucking trade them, 2 of them within 12 months. And you trade the first round pick. And then this year you're supposed to actually play for something because you have no first round pick. But you go 4-11. Or 4-12. Whatever the fucking case may be. So now you're trash for no reason. You trade your fucking first rounders because you think you're actually going to be good and you don't need them. When in case this year, you actually fucking needed them. And then you fire the coach slash DM who made the stupid fucking decision to trade your best offensive talent. You fire him after he does that. Give me a quick second. Let me stand to the fucking wall real quick. And last but not least, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who had Blake Bortles. He's trash. They gave up on him. And you bring your Foles in. And then you instantly ship him the fuck out. You trade your whole defense. You give away your running back. Got a good running back to back up. Probably a better running back. Actual running back. Probably got a better one. Maybe. We'll see. You got some good wide receiver talents. I like DJ Shark. I like Dede Westbrook, who's been out this year. I like Chino, I believe his name is. I like him. You got Mike Glennon throwing the fucking ball. And you let him replace the quarterback that you bought in to replace the quarterback that you just 2 quarterbacks that you just gave away. You gave away 2 quarterbacks in between probably 8 months. And then you bring G Minshew in. And then you replace him with Mike Glennon. And now you just tank to get a number 1 fucking pick. And this is all within like 3 years. So you tell me, what the fuck is Trevor Lawrence gonna do with a team that is all young guys, has terrible coaching? You just fired the coach. They don't have a coach. And you're gonna draft this dude. And you just had a legendarily bad defense, who was probably the second worst defense of all fucking time. And now this dude's gonna be drafted number 1, and he's supposed to come in here and quote unquote fix things. When it was like 4 or 5 years of fuck ups to even get to this point. He's supposed to come in and throw for 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. They don't even have a coach. Are we all watching the same thing? Are we all? I think we are so used to, it's just like basketball too. I think we're so used to, the best players supposedly be. How many actual number 1 picks actually fucking become what they're supposed to be as number 1 picks? Very fucking little. You know why? Because I gotta get drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because I'm getting drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Because I'm getting drafted by the fucking Jacksonville Jaguars. The fucking Bengals drafted me. Joe Burrow just had an all-time season. He did everything. Broke records, won a championship, won a Heisman. And for that, he gets to play for the fucking Cincinnati Bengals. What does baseball do? Does baseball have another system? I thought baseball just signed their cats straight out. Listen, I don't know if there's a baseball draft. I ain't never seen a baseball draft. I've never heard of a baseball draft. I think baseball just signed motherfuckers. Like, hey, you in this league? Come on up, play for my team. Why can't we do that for football and basketball? Why does the best? Why does Vince Young? Why the fuck was he with Jeff Fisher? Why do this? It makes no sense. I remember Keyjana Carter was a beast coming out of Penn State. You have to go run for the Bengals. And he said, oh, well, Keyjana Carter, well, this dude, he's on a better team. I can run for more when I have a better fucking offensive line to run behind. I can throw for more if I have an offensive line that protects me. If I have wide receivers to throw it to. If I have a coaching system that can put up plays to get me what we need to do. If I have a GM and a front office and a president that are going to put the right talents on offense and defense to put me in the best place to succeed. The Bengals have never been in the best place to succeed. The Jaguars have never been in the best place to succeed. The Cavaliers lucked into a motherfucker who just so happened to be born 10 miles away. And he had to come back after they fucked up the first time. Do y'all get what I'm saying? Do everybody understand what I'm getting at? We understand what I'm cooking here. How do we expect top tier prospects, the greatest of all times in collegiate sports, to come to a harder level to lead the worst of all time? Every single fucking year we do it. Kyle Kuzma is not he's not an amazing player in general. Kyle Kuzma is not a good player because he's Kyle Kuzma. And I don't want to downplay his work and his effort. But Kyle Kuzma plays for the motherfucking Los Angeles Lakers with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And before he got there to fucking banners in the sky. A lot of them. And Magic Johnson back there. Who the fuck is They're gonna do the Icky Shuffle for Cincinnati. What's Cincinnati greats? Does Joe Burrow have to talk to? You gonna talk to Carson Palmer? What history does he have? What chance does he have? At least for fucking LSU, he had a history with that. Look at the history he has with the Bengals. Look at the history of the Jets. Look at the history of the Dolphins. Look at the history of the Cowboys. It's been 30 years, 25, 30 years. You gonna let them get a high draft pick? And Andy Dalton still a quarterback? Because that gone. I just need somebody to help me make sense with this. I appreciate y'all listening. Holler.